Hello, potassium people. Welcome back to another Banana Bites. Now, today I was originally planning on starting a new series that I had planned for this channel regarding bananas, but I was recently reminded about how there are different companies and institutions that don't know how to teach people. What I mean by that is the way they present information is very incorrect. So, let me give an example from back when I was in college. When I was in college, before I graduated, I had this professor where I feel like I could have learned more if the entire class was a textbook where I didn't have to show up to a class. I would just read the textbook, complete assignments, and a grader would grade it. Like, that would have been more beneficial to me overall than being in this person's class. And the reason why is because the way they would present information was they would ask a question trying to determine if people knew the answer before the information was even presented in the first place. And it wasn't like, oh, did you do the reading for the class? No, this is before we even knew what the subject was supposed to be on when we showed up to the class. So here I was one day in this class, and the professor goes up and they ask a question about rejects. And that's basically just how you can format certain strings, right? Or text blocks in programming. And he's like, oh, does anyone know what it is? Well, nobody answers because every time someone has answered, they are just like, no, that's not right. And then it'd be explained anyways. So nobody answers for like 5 minutes. And here I am just plugging away on an assignment for another class because I know it's just going to be a waste of time. And I was thinking, there are some teachers, there are some people and companies that have actually taught me well, and the way they've done it is through application, or rather, the inquisitive nature that people have to pursue answers on their own. And what I mean by this is a simple idea or concept will be introduced, and then is up to the individual to ask their own questions on what's possible. So let me give an example. This is a programming one, but I'm going to keep it relatively simple. If I don't attack my microphone, that is. So in programming, there are different types of these variables or these means of storing data. And let me just present a couple of them to start out with. So for one, we have a string. That's just a text block, right? So a string can have something like banana. Banana, okay? That's a string. You can also have numbers. And I'm just keeping it very simple. There's integers, longs, whatever. But in this case, let's just call them numbers. So let's say, for instance, 4011. That's a number. It's also what some people know for the banana itself. That's the tag you use to check them out in the US. So we have these two variables, and then there is one additional way to store variables, and that would be lists. So in a list, you can store strings. For instance, I could put this banana inside this string. Now I have a list with the string banana in it. Now, with this in mind, let me ask a question. What else could you store in a list? Because in a list, you can store anything. Like in this example, let's just say anything, right? So if you know programming, you probably know you could store all sorts of things. But let's say this is your first time being introduced, and maybe for many people it is your first time. I just want you to think, you can store anything in a list. Anything. Well, obvious answer, you could also store the number. You could also store different types, right? But what if someone wants to take it a step further? You give them time and you present an idea where, hey, I need to have this string in this list, but then next to it, I want there to be in this spot right here, this single spot, I want there to be 2 strings. How are you going to do that? In one spot? Well, then you let people think. A list can store anything. Anything at all. Wait a minute. What if I had a second list? And I could have 2 strings in here. And then you put that in this spot. You let people understand a basic concept. Just teach it. And then you let them try whatever they feel like. And that teaches people way better than trying to ask them a question on a subject that's never been introduced to see if anyone even knows in the first place. And yet, so many places try to make people feel stupid for not knowing something, when it was never taught to them in the first place. I'm not even saying this is necessarily the only thing you could do, right? Overall, I think we need to go back to letting people think for themselves. Because right now, with how you can look up anything at all, at any point in time, and you can ask AI to even solve your problems, there's not enough inquisitive thinking of what is possible. For instance, I think it's possible to add the strange second banana to TF2 in a crate with various other items that have stranges. Or that need stranges. Apologies. And so, Valve, once again I'm asking, can you please add the strange second banana to TF2? I'm gonna eat this banana now. Look at that. How do you store multiple bananas? In bunches. I should have called it bunch instead of a list. I'm too programmer pilled, what some people might say. But it's pretty good. Yeah, I remember back when I was in college, one of the best things I learned about working with data, like large data sets, is manipulating it, because the professor introduced how you can work through text files. And then what I did, this is like first year in college. And what I did is I had to find out the answer on my own. AI wasn't really used at that time. I remember it took a long time for me to be like, what can I do with this information? And then one day, I was working on this final project. It clicked. It's like, oh my gosh. You can connect the data together and find the answer to this problem. I don't even remember what the problem was. I just remember thinking, wow, I figured this out. And to this day, I still know how to connect that data together in what's known as a CSV format. So, just keep trying new stuff, I guess. Ask if I try this, will it work? And then just try it. I'll be honest, that was a lot of yapping, but potassium people, I hope you all have a wonderful day. Keep asking questions. Keep learning. Keep trying new stuff. I'll talk to you all tomorrow. Bye.